Hello engineering students, I wanted to do a little bit of a visual walkthrough on the dial caliper. We've seen a presentation on it and I think this is as valuable or more valuable. The measurement of this, the measurement capability is slightly over 6 inches. Okay. As a rule, do not run this back and forth for entertainment purposes. There is a rack gear right there that a small gear inside here runs on, and that dial has to spin very fast, so don't do this as a point of entertainment because they have all lifespan. Measurement, the most common measurement is between faces here, or an outside measurement, and it's customary to wipe the faces with your hand in order to remove dirt and dust, and then when you bring this together, the dial should zero out. Now if you notice, it does not zero out here. So in order to zero the dial, there are 2 set screws on the dial caliper. The set screw that controls the face of the dial, if we loosen this, turn it counterclockwise, now we can rotate the face of the dial and we actually re-zero the caliper. So put it on 0 and then tighten this slightly. The other set screw on here is for the carriage or the slide. So this set screw has to be loose as well, counterclockwise, in order for the carriage to move. If you find that the carriage is very stiff or doesn't want to move, it's likely that this is turned down tight. And right now it's locked in, it won't move. So I'm going to loosen that. And now I can put my thumb here on this wheel, and what happens is the wheel presses up on the slide, which is the immovable part, and moves this down the dial. Okay, so I talked about one measurement, inside or outside diameter. So if we were going to measure this handle, we would line this up so it was perpendicular with the jaws, slip it out of there, and our measurement right now reads past the 4, past the 5. Let me grab a pen for reference. Just past the number or the line beyond the 5, we read off of the edge of the carriage here. So it's 0.500. This is in hundred thousandths. This is 100 thousandths, 2, 300 thousandths, 400 thousandths, 500 thousandths, and then we add the dial here. Each one of these indications is 0.001. So we have 0.010, that's 10, and it goes just past the 14. So we would call this 0.514 or 514 thousandths. Now in common terms, that's just over a ½ inch, which makes sense. ½ inch shaft, it's a common material size. Makes sense that we would have that. There are flats on these teeth which are better to get on than the edges, unless you need to get in on something very small. You don't typically use the edges. If you can use the flats, it's a little more accurate measurement. Second measurement that we can use is an inside measurement. These, as the jaws spread apart, these two would come apart and measure inside diameters. So if we took this object here and we wanted to try and measure this hole depth, I'm going to rotate it a little bit until I feel I have the largest opening possible here, and then I would try and slide this out. My reading here, I am past the 4 line, excuse me, there we go, past the 4 line, but I don't see that 5 line on the other side, and notice the dial is not past the 0 either. So I'm 400 thousandths here, 0.400, plus the dial, which is 0.091, or an additional 91 thousandths. So I have 491 thousandths, just under a ½ inch. Now I drilled this hole with a ½ inch drill bit. So the wood expanding a little bit and just variation of measurement here, you can see that as I move this around, I might get a little bit, there I'm over a ½ inch slightly, I might get a little bit of variation. The third measurement we can use is a step measurement, not very common, but on the back side here, there are 2 different surface heights here, so we can lay this against like this and drop the head down, and that will give us a step measurement here of how far down we're coming off of, excuse me, of this edge right there. This would be a plunge depth here. And the other way we can do that is if we reverse this and use the tongue here off of this edge, it actually would be the same measurement. If you notice, it's virtually the same measurement here as a step measurement. Oh, you can't see the dial. So take a look at the dial here. I'm touching down If I flip this over as a step measurement, I am almost the same measurement. So I can use that either way as a step. And my number here, the big threes here, that's 3 full inches, and then have 100 thousandths, 200 thousandths, right at 300 thousandths. So I would be 3.300, 3 inches and 300 thousandths for a measurement. If your dial caliper is missing any parts or is not operating smoothly, let me know. We have a few for cadavers that we can pull from to put back together.